Hello folks, and welcome back to Whiskey Wars. My name is Sean, and tonight we'll be reviewing a fairly special bottle, and that is Sam Houston 15 Year. Let's get into it. Alright folks, here is our bottle for this evening, Sam Houston 15 Year. And of course, this is a sourced product. It's not like there's some Sam Houston distillery out there that's making whiskey. So let's get into where it is sourced from. So on the back here, it says bottled by Three Springs Bottling Company, Bowling Green, Kentucky, for Western Spirits. But we actually know that what this is Barton, that is sourced, of course, here in Kentucky as well. Now, so what is this exactly? So this is bottle 469 of 486. This is Kentucky batch 4. Batch size 3 barrels. Barrel date month 04, year 06. Age 15 years, 6 months. Char level 4. And of course, in American white oak barrels. Mash bill, 74% corn, 18% rye, and 8% malted barley, distilled in Bardstown, Kentucky. So there you go. This is a $130 bottle, so let's see if it is worth that price tag. Now, as you can see, I have drank quite a good amount of this. So plenty of time for air to get in there. All the great things to happen with oxidation, all that good stuff, aerating of the bottle and such. And also I've given some out to friends as samples. So let's get this thing poured. Let's get a little in here and see what we got. I have to say, when I first opened this bottle, I was not blown away. But hopefully that has changed. Let's see, because this was recommended highly, granted different batches by other whiskey tubers out there. So let's talk about this Kentucky batch 4. All right, so on the nose, certainly getting some age. Nice tobacco, a very sweet tobacco note. Little leather, a little bit of a drying note in there. Nice milk chocolate. Probably more like a dark chocolate, actually. Lots and lots of char. Almost like overly smoked meat. If you've ever smoked meat and it's been in the smoker just a little too long, it still has that kind of smoked meat smell, but also the char is kind of taken over. So there's that kind of smoky meat sweetness. Lots of dark fruits, plums, raisins, black cherry, maybe even like a raspberry or maybe some blueberries in there. Of course, my favorite, the roasted date showing up here. And just a general charred wood note in there for sure. Lots of char notes. Very charred, toasty, burnt oaks, lots of that showing up. Yeah, all in all, good nose. Let's move on to what matters though, and that's the taste. Here we go, first sip down. Okay, so let's talk about it. So, on the palate, got lots and lots of char notes, lots of spice. From the palate, fairly soft for a 15-year bourbon. That's really where the fruit shows up, is very front of the palate. You get kind of a black cherry, maybe a little blueberry, raspberry showing up there, very front of the palate, and just kind of a general sweetness. That's where the brown sugar and maybe just a hint of caramel. It's mainly darker notes in this, so not a lot of caramel showing up, maybe just a hint. Then get into the mid palate, and then the char and barrel spices just rush in. Lots of charred, toasty oak notes, lots of cinnamon, lots of black pepper. There is a nice kind of tobacco note there, kind of finishing that out, kind of a sweetness to that. Also, that's where the kind of dark chocolate note shows up. There's also like a really nice coffee note there. All in all, nice first sip. Let's go ahead and go in for a second though and see what else we can get. So before we get into the second set of tasting notes, folks, just want to remind you that we do have a Patreon, and if you want to support the channel directly, go down into the description box and check out our Patreon. That helps us out right here so we can buy more whiskey, so we can review more whiskey, so you can see more reviews, so we can keep doing this thing. So check that out. Now to these tasting notes. Okay, second sip down was mainly focused on mid palate a little more, and then also the finish. So one thing I have to say is that this drinks hotter than it is. So this is, 103 proof there. But it drinks much hotter than that. I would say it drinks like it's more 110, 115, something like that. Yeah, it's spicy. It's very spicy, very hot. Lots and lots of cinnamon burn and char showing up there, and lots of just kind of barrel spice in there, which you would kind of expect on an older whiskey. I just wish that this was a little more rounded. The barrel spice is kind of taken over, at least in this particular bottle. Now, if that's something that you really enjoy and that's kind of all you're after, then this might be for you. I wish there was more of the dark chocolate, more of the coffee, more of the sweet tobacco. The char notes just really are like off the scale, beyond 11, and everything else is more like a 5. So you have to kind of search for the other stuff that's in there. There are some other nice notes in there for sure. But then what's interesting is that when you get to the finish, then you get kind of this black cherry note, and there's a little coffee note going on. The char is still very much there. And then there's that kind of cinnamon spice. But the finish is kind of short. Kind of surprisingly short for a 15-year-old bourbon. So, I'm kind of torn on this bottle because it's $130 and it's an interesting experience. I just don't know. So I think my issue is if someone were to pour this for me blind and I had no idea what I was drinking, and I had to guess the price point that this particular bourbon is in, I would probably say it's like a $60 to $80 bourbon. That's kind of what it drinks like. It's not a bad experience. It's a very nice experience. I just don't think that it drinks quite $130 good. And that's kind of the problem when you get into these higher priced bourbons, is there's certainly diminishing returns. And in this particular case, I would say that's very true. I don't know. It's hard for me to recommend this, at least based on this bottle. I've heard from other folks in the community that they really enjoyed theirs, so maybe I just didn't get a great batch. It's hard to say. But anyway, got to rate this one. So, 130 bucks, more like a $60 experience. So, is it great for 130? Not to me, no. I think it's not even, I don't know, I guess it's average. I'm just going to say it's average. It's a 5. It's a 5 out of 10 for $130. I'm just not impressed by this at all. There's so many other bottles that you could get for that money that I think are far better, in my opinion. I would much rather have this be a little higher proof, although maybe not, because this drinks pretty hot as is. So, I don't know. Anyway, 5 out of 10, that's the score. Not really a recommend. Try it at a bar, I guess, or from a friend. So, folks, I hope this review has been helpful, informative, entertaining, all those great things. If it has, then please hit that like button. And also, here is other reviews from us. So you can click that little box there. And here's a subscribe box thing. So do both of those. And until next time, just remember, you can never have too much good whiskey.